Hey y'all, my name is Amy. I am a full-time online clothing, shoe, and accessory reseller with the occasional hard goods in there too. I have for you 20 items that sold for $40 or more, and I will be sharing my screen with you so you can see these sales. First up is this Anthropology Pilcrow and the letterpress cardigan. And it was this multicolor knit with this embroidered sun on the back. I saw this at the thrift store and didn't even look up comps. I just thought it was such a beautiful cardigan and decided to give it a shot. They had it priced at just $8 at the thrift store. It sold same day as listing for full price. With shipping, the buyer paid $110.45, and that left me with $78.76. Then this off-the-shoulder gown by a brand I'd never heard of. I found it at my local thrift store. The brand is Fisty, and it just seemed substantial to me, so I wanted to give it a try. Here is that brand tag. This one sold 20 days after listing for $67.40. I had just paid $7 at Goodwill, so that left me with $42.43. Then this gorgeous Kate Spade dress sold. This one was like a chambray denim, but it had this peony floral print all over it and these puff shoulders. I thought this piece was just stunning. This one definitely took a while to sell. It took 151 days, but I definitely listed it more in the fall time. So it took until February to sell, so before the spring. So it kind of makes sense with the style of the dress. This one I had paid $14.23 for. Again, it took 151 days, but it sold for $50, leaving me $25.77. Next is a brand that I will pick up again. However, I won't pick up their sneakers. They just don't do very well for me. I feel like they just sit and sit, and when they do sell, they don't sell for a lot. And when I do find them, I usually am paying up for them. So these are the Sorel Kinetic sneakers in gray and mint. I paid $24 for these. They took 131 days and only sold for $45. So that left me with a profit of $12. I definitely like to double my money, and on this one, spending 24 to make 12 just doesn't make sense. Then these Nike Air Max Sequent 3 men's shoes sold. I paid $25 for these. They sold just 3 days after listing for 61, and that left me with $20.28. I didn't quite double my money on these, but I am so unaware of how sneakers sell. And when someone sent me an offer just 3 days after listing, I happily took it, especially these ones. I think they had a couple of marks and some dirt marks on them. So they weren't in pristine condition, but the bottoms were in really good shape. So I was happy just to move on from these because I am still so unsure when it comes to sneakers. Then this Papilio by Birkenstock Arizona platform sandals sold. I paid $31.55. They took 41 days to sell and sold for $65.60, and that left me with $19.56. These weren't the best profit. I probably just paid too much for them, but they're a really cute style. And I have another pair that has not sold yet. Next to sell was this Daydreamer Johnny Cash thermal waffle tee. This one didn't have a size on it. The fabric tag that you normally has a size with Daydreamer was cut out. So I took measurements and estimated the size, and I ended up estimating incorrectly. I used a size chart and everything, but I guess I was just off. And Daydreamer is kind of hard because a lot of their pieces are extremely oversized and then some are not. So I think I compared it with the size chart for an oversized item when this one was meant to be maybe slightly more form-fitting. Either way, I said it was a small and the buyer claimed that it had to be a large or an extra large, and there was no way it was a small. So I got a return request, and the buyer was very upset about having to go to the post office, and I could just see a negative review coming. So I ended up just refunding the full cost of this one and eating it because it just wasn't worth it to me to get a negative review. And I could just almost guarantee it was going to happen. So it's unfortunate, but it happens sometimes. This one I paid $29.26 for. It sold for $51.70, and then I have my profit as $10.29, but obviously that is not the case. I ended up just losing my investment on this piece and shipping, and then the buyer just kept the item and got the full return, which again sucks, but it does happen sometimes, so I didn't take it out of the video because I like to be real with you. Next to sell was this Louisa nap dress in black crepe. I really like selling Hill House dresses, but this style, specifically in the black crepe fabric, I feel like it doesn't do the best. I paid $28 for this one. It took 101 days to sell. It sold for $85 on Curtsy, leaving me $40.33. And here is that tag. Then another Hill House piece. This is the sweater dress in merino wool. And the tag did look slightly different on this one. I paid $25.20. It took 104 days to sell. Sold for $70, leaving me $30.80. Next was a piece that I found in my local thrift store, and it like screamed my mom's style, and she was looking for a jacket. So when she came to visit, she tried it on and ended up keeping it, and she insisted on paying me in cash, which is great because there are no fees. So this is a Pell Studio and Wilson's collab, and this one is just a lamb leather jacket with lace. I just thought this was so girly and so cute. This one, let's see, I paid $14.29 for it, 31 days after listing, because I did list it at first. It sold for $50 because she just handed me $50 in cash, which was amazing, and that left me with a profit of $35.71. Okay, now we're getting into Everlane pieces. Everlane is my best-selling brand by far. It just consistently sells for me, which I am so incredibly blessed and thankful for. And what I've decided to do in these what sold videos is to just put them at the end because they do make up part of my portion of sales, and I don't want to cut them out of these videos because I still think they're relevant in terms of styles and trends sometimes that are moving and why certain pieces are selling over and over again. And I think that information can be utilized to help you know what styles are doing well, not necessarily in finding these exact pieces. Without further ado, this is the Everlane caftan dress. I paid $13.49. It took 29 days to sell for $40, leaving me $16.07. This one sold in a bundle on Depop, which is why I'm showing you in the Vendu form. Okay, then this Everlane original cheeky jean in a crew sold. This one was a really quick sell. The original cheeky jean by Everlane, I feel like usually does sell quickly. So if you do come across this style, it's probably worth looking up. This one sold 4 days after listing. I paid $7.15. It sold for $46.60, leaving me at $26.93. Then a style that sold back to back, first on Poshmark, as you see here. It sold 28 days after listing for $49, and then I'm not going to have a second screenshot, but it also sold on Depop 21 days after listing for $46.40. Next is this Everlane Oxford shirt dress in light blue. This one I know has not been shown before because this is my first time selling this style. This one took 55 days to sell. It sold for $40, leaving me $18.51. Then this Riviera dress sold 28 days after listing for $40, also leaving $18.51. And lastly, this smock midi dress in deep navy sold twice in this time period. It sold 28 days after listing and then 31 days after listing for $63 and then $57. And they both sold on Poshmark. And I had forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, but all of these sales occurred from February 15th to February 25th. And that concludes all 20 items. Let me know below what you think about Everlane items being pushed to the end. I definitely appreciate your opinion and do not take anything like with bad intent. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.